The Cart Titan, known for his quick speed and agility, and his shifter as sharp as a knife she put in this guy. This Titan is not meant to be a combative type, at least on his own, but is one that supports his comrades in combat by carrying artillery, scoping out the surrounding area, and general info gathering. On top of that, this Titan shifter truly does care for their comrades. Which brings me to the main point in the video, that this Titan represents camaraderie, and this shifter shows us this time and time again, being not only one of the only Titan shifters shown to care for their comrades, but one of Attack on Titan's most caring characters, period. A person who puts their life in danger to save their friends no matter the situation or potential outcome. Let's talk about Marley's best girl, Pieck Finger, and her Cart Titan. Before we start the topic of the video, make sure you guys subscribe and hit that like button if you haven't already. It helps the video and the channel get more traction in the YouTube algorithm and lets it be seen by other people who also enjoy content just like this. And now with no further distractions, let's get back to the topic of the video. When we first see the Cart Titan, at the time just referred to as a quadruped for lack of a better name, it was seen scoping out the area of Paradis Island and returning what information it gathered to Zeke Yeager, with a surprising rare ability to speak in Titan form. This interaction may not look like much, but from this very first occurrence, it's showing sort of role this thing will play in the series, as mainly a supporter. It reports to his comrades and actually gives a sense of teamwork, a very drastic difference from our original 4 warriors who were sent to Paradis and came up with a plan that barely had little to no communication whatsoever. It's also shown saving Reiner from being executed by Hanji, most likely on the orders of Zeke, but you see where I'm getting at. It's clearly shown to be a supporting member of the team and not directly involved with combat, and you get a real sense of why this Titan represents camaraderie when we get to Marley. In Marley, we come to find out that the quadruped is referred to as the Cart Titan, and his shifter is a young woman with long flowing black hair named Pieck Finger. We get to see how her shifter interacts with the people around her, mainly her fellow warriors and Eldians. She's shown to be extremely kind and loyal to her comrades, even at the expense of herself, when it's shown she knows the truth of the world and how Marley views and treats Eldians. Knowing this, it still doesn't change her loyalty towards the people who fight alongside her. And we get to see this firsthand on several occasions, the first of which being the battle in Liberio. But what happens before it definitely sets the tone for what kind of person Pieck truly is. During Willy Tiber's play, Yelena, disguised as a Marleyan soldier, lures Pieck and Porco to a secluded location by telling them that they are being summoned by, at the time, Commander McGaff. Pieck feels as if she recognizes this person, and you can tell is a bit skeptical during this entire interaction. All three just so happen to pass by a group of Pieck's comrades known as the Panzer Unit, a group specifically used for operating the artillery attached to the Cart Titan, and an excited Pieck greets them, giving them a big embrace. Porco asks her what that was about, and she tells him that as the Cart Titan, their fate and hers are one and the same. This is a blatant display of the camaraderie her Titan represents, and that quote she said will ring true soon enough. This moment seemed to be just friends happening to pass by each other, but after Yelena ends up trapping Pieck and Porco in the pit, the Panzer Unit comes to rescue them shortly after. Pieck ends up revealing that she felt uneasy and thought the soldier that was escorting them looked suspicious, so while embracing the Panzer Unit, she told them to follow her, and they did. Just as she's loyal to her comrades, so are they to her. This doesn't only show her camaraderie and the faith she holds in the people she is close with, it also shows she has a keen intuition and is a good judge of character. In all honesty, this display of her traits shows she could have been a good leader and was probably only second to Marcel, but I digress. I'll save that for my Titan shifter ranking video. After being freed from the pit that Yelena trapped him in, she engages in the ongoing battle in Liberio against Eren Yeager and the rest of the scouts. Here, we can see how the Cart Titan truly operates when in combat. We see members of the Panzer Unit operating artillery attached to her Titan, and when things begin to take a left turn in the tide of battle, we see her genuine care for her comrades as they are being taken down one by one. She is shocked to see Zeke defeated, but she doesn't let that distract her when she and her Panzer Unit are being pressured by the scouts, but even they too begin to fall. When Carlo is killed by Sasha, this enrages Pieck, and she tries to kill Sasha herself. The normally composed Pieck is outraged that a member of her Panzer Unit was killed. This alone should show you the kind of person Pieck is. With as composed and intelligent as Pieck is, she too falls prey to her emotions on the battlefield, because she too cares for her comrades. But even a greater moment is approaching that truly shows his caring nature. As Pieck is charging towards Sasha in a fit of rage, John comes out wielding a thunder spear and launches it in her eye, blinding her for a moment. Other scouts are then ordered to fire at her in this moment of weakness, and as she and the remaining members of the Panzer Unit are being incinerated by the explosion, we hear her team screaming her name, and Pieck herself says guys, showing us that even in this crucial moment, she is disregarding her own well-being and is concerned about the lives of her comrades. This isn't the only time she would do this. In the same battle, mere moments after being attacked with thunder spears, Pieck emerges from her Titan extremely injured. A very concerned Falco is holding her, and instead of asking him to fight, to protect her, or anything else that may put him in danger, she tells him to run away and to hide, even though her death will be assured. Luckily for both of them, Magav covers for her taking out several scouts to protect her life as well as Falco's. We can clearly see why Pieck cares so deeply for the ones she fights alongside with. Just like in real world warfare, people in these high stress, intense situations grow a bond with each other because of the things they may go through, and even with all the crazy Titan abilities they may have in this world, they are still human and are able to build bonds between one another. This is why Pieck cares so deeply, and this point is literally confirmed when she arrives on Paradis. But before we jump that far ahead, let's talk about her complex relationship with Zeke Yeager. When Zeke was revealed to be a traitor, Pieck didn't budge. She didn't look hurt or surprised. As a matter of fact, Pieck always suspected Zeke to be telling lies, ever since the day she met him. The only time she believed Zeke to be telling the truth was when Zeke confronted Eren when they were first on Paradis all those years ago, and Zeke told Eren, "Believe me, Eren, I get it. I know how you feel. Someday, I'll come back and save you from all this." When she heard Zeke speak these words, she knew Zeke was being sincere. So why would she go out of her way to fight for someone like Zeke beforehand? Why would she risk her own life on the battlefield alongside someone she always assumed to be telling lies? This is coming from her own personal headcanon, and what I believe to be the reason behind these actions. Pieck is indeed a character who cares deeply for the people she fights alongside, as she told Gabi that she didn't trust Marley, but she does trust people who have fought alongside her. This is the case for Zeke as well. Even though she's always had her suspicions about him, he was also a person she's fought alongside with, someone she's put her trust in on the battlefield as well. This is a good character trait to have, but she has it to a fault. With her keen intuition, and Zeke's known background being related to Eldian restorationists, and her belief that Zeke was telling lie after lie, on top of that, the only time she thought he was being genuine was when he spoke with Eren that day. Maybe she could have saw this coming, but because of her trust she put in her comrades, it blinded her to the truth that was right in front of her. As I said before, Pieck is extremely loyal to her comrades, even at the expense of herself, and despite knowing the truth of how Eldians are viewed, and even knowing what will potentially happen once Marley's mission is accomplished. While on Paradis and undercover, Pieck makes her way to Eren, who has confronted Gabi. She holds Eren at gunpoint and tells Gabi to pick up the rifle of the soldier she just killed, and to point it at Eren. Pieck threatens to kill Eren right then and there, and Eren calls her bluff, telling her he knows she can't kill him because he has the founding Titan, and her mission isn't to kill him, but to retrieve it. Left with no other choice because of Eren's correct assumption, she attempts to get out of the situation that she and Gabi are in. She begins to try and gain Eren's trust by telling him that she knows with the founding Titan's power, he has the strength to defeat Marley, and she wants to join him in his efforts, if she can free all the subjugated Eldians all over the world, and to show her father that Eldia has a bright future. A confused Gabi asks her what she's doing, and tells her she's a traitor like Zeke. This is where things begin to get truly interesting, because we see Pieck truly does know the truth of the world that not only herself but her fellow warriors and Eldians reside in. Gabi questions what they have been fighting for this entire time, if not to prove that they were good Eldians, that one day they'll be set free. What was it all for? Pieck then asks Gabi what they are. Are they Marleyan or an Eldian? Which one comes first? Gabi answers that they're Marleyans first, honorary Marleyans. Pieck tells her she's wrong, and that above everything else, they're subjects of Ymir, and that's an inescapable truth. She continues on by telling her, no matter what they call themselves, that there are people who are able to turn and be turned into Titans. But she reveals another shocking revelation as well, showing how deep she knows the situation to be for Eldians. She tells her that they've both seen what had taken place at the Battle of Fort Slava, that the man-made weaponry is starting to surpass the Titans, and once it does, Titans will become obsolete. Once the Titans become obsolete, the Marleyan military will have no use for them, that they alongside every other Eldian will be slaughtered without a second thought. She tells Gabi that it doesn't matter how hard they work to try to prove that they are good Eldians, because there's no such thing as good Eldians in the eyes of Marley. At best, they're just tools to be used for war until their use runs out, and once it does, they'll be put down like animals before they're ever set free, and that they have to secure their right to live with their own hands, even if it means getting them dirty. As we all know, this was a ploy to gain the trust of Eren, but we also know what she is saying to be true. This is the truth of their world, so why fight alongside these people? Why not actually switch sides here and join Eren? We will come to find out very soon, as we enter the scene of Pieck and Eren on the rooftop. As Eren is waiting for Pieck to point out the enemy, Pieck holds Gabi's hand very firmly and looks at her with a warm smile. She turns around and points towards Eren and says he's the enemy. Moments after, a transformed Porco emerges from underneath in an attempt to eat Eren. Gabi, confused as ever, asks Pieck if she's really a traitor, and here, we see her true self emerge once again. She questions Gabi. Did she really think she'd sell out her comrades? Gabi responds by telling her that Pieck herself said that if they continue to fight for Marley, that they'd have no future. Pieck tells Gabi to look above, And that's when we spot the Marley and military, ready to aid Pieck after she gave the signal. This sight brings Gabi to tears that not only is Pieck not a traitor, but that they're coming to be saved. Pieck tells Gabi here that she doesn't trust Marley one bit, but she does trust the comrades she's fought alongside with, completely. That entire sequence is truly the crux of who Pieck is, and what makes not only herself, but her Titan as well, represent camaraderie. What Pieck has done by telling Gabi the truth of their world, putting herself in mortal danger by not only coming to enemy territory and confronting Eren himself to save Gabi, but also leading Gabi into thinking Pieck herself was a traitor to Marley and her comrades, putting Gabi in a position to possibly take Pieck's life, all in an effort to save Gabi and give her comrades a chance at exposing Eren's position and save the world from what Eren will ultimately come to do. I don't know what else can possibly be more accurate than this moment here. As I said in the beginning, Pieck is kind and loyal to the people she considers her comrades, sometimes even to a fault. She puts her life in constant danger in order to bail her comrades out time and time again, because that's how much she cares for them, and in turn, they do the same for her. She really may be the most caring individual in the show, aside from a certain someone else who has his own way of showing how much he cares for his comrades, even to the point of becoming the world's enemy. But that's for a future video, but I honestly can't wait to get to that point. Honestly, so much more happens after that shows Pieck's camaraderie, but in my opinion, the rooftop scene is a perfect closing point to this video, and if I were to go any further, it would just feel like I would be talking in circles. But I will go on to say, Pieck truly shows us how important it is to have people around you that you can trust and fall back on when times get tough, but she also carries that same responsibility herself. Showing us, she puts in equal effort for the people she is close with, as a show of mutual care and respect. I believe we can learn a lot from the way Pieck carries herself, and if you have friendships, especially strong ones, then it'd be important to have that sense of camaraderie among you and your friends, and hopefully in turn they hold the same for you. But, with nothing more to add here, I truly hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time my friends, I'll see you later.